up, everybody? This is Chris Surratt bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, the show that helps you with the buying, selling, maintaining, and repairing of all your vehicles. On today's show, we're going to dive into, of course, what is common trope for us is the loss of jobs, but we're going to tackle it in a different way. What we're going to talk about today is automation and how we are losing a lot of our jobs because of automation, because of machines, because of the desire to save money and to bring in the latest technology that, of course, will take over the work of several humans, as it were, to get the job done. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about a couple of situations where automation has creeped into the automotive world, which it's been there for a long time. We've known this for quite some time. Automation has been taking over forever, and it's been probably in the automotive industry as long as it's been any other place. But what we've seen as of late is just a stronger push for automation, specifically in factories and facilities like that, because of overhead, really because of inflation and situations where people are needing to do more with less, as it were. So that's what we're going to tackle today. We're going to tackle a couple of stories that I checked out dealing with that situation, and then we're going to keep on moving forward. So let's go ahead and jump in. All right, so first story we're going to check out is about AutoNation. I don't know. AutoNation, if you guys don't know, is pretty much one of the largest car dealership franchises, pretty much franchises, but car dealership owners in the world. They own a good percentage of the dealerships around the United States, some overseas as well. And of course, we've known for a while that the automotive industry is taking major hits, and it's just trickling down. You go from the problems that they're having at the factories, to the problem that they're having with the vehicles, to the problem that they're having at the dealerships getting those vehicles sold. So what AutoNation has done is sold 2 of its Ford stores. So we're going to check out the story real quick. Of course, we're always in automotive news. We know how we love it. This was from the 30th, so a couple days ago. AutoNation's sale of 2 Ford stores may just be start. AutoNation Inc. in August sold 2 Ford dealerships, and it appears it may have more dealerships slated to sell according to a regulatory filing. And this is from, of course, August 30th by Gail Kujadurin. How? Okay. AutoNation Inc. in August sold 2 of its Ford stores, one in Georgia and one in Minnesota. An AutoNation spokesperson on August 27th confirmed that the auto retail giant sold 2 Ford dealerships in White Bear Lake, Minnesota and Union City, Georgia, but did not provide details or answer further questions regarding the divestors. And it appears AutoNation may have plans to sell more stores. AutoNation in August regulatory filing said it had $195.1 million in assets for sale as of June 30th. Yeah. That compares with $21.3 million in assets for sale as of December 31st, 2023. F&I attracted Stivers Auto. The publicly held auto retailer in August 22nd sold AutoNation for Union City in Georgia to Stivers Automotive Group of Atlanta. The group renamed the store, located southwest of Atlanta, Stivers Ford South. Stivers Automotive, owned by brothers Eddie and Johnny Stivers, third-generation dealers, now has 8 stores in Alabama, Arizona, Georgia, and South Carolina. The group sells Hyundai, Genesis, Subaru, Ford, Lincoln, and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. Got everything. President Eddie Stivers also is vice chair of the Ford National Dealer Council. Bigwig. Dave Canton, George Beaver, and Mike Lacey of New York dealership advisory firm Dave Canton Group advised Stivers Automotive in the transaction. It worked from a geographic standpoint, Eddie Stivers said of the Ford store in Union City. We excel at fixed operations, and it's a great fixed operations opportunity and it just worked very well for us. Stiver said his group plans to replace the Union City Ford dealership with a next generation facility within the next 3 years. That is the point I'm trying to get across to you guys. The Stivers Automotive Group is one of those progressive automotive groups where they deal with less salesmen, and they have a lot of technology and automation inside their dealerships. And I think they're one of the first automotive conglomerates that I know of that has that automated tire change machine that I was talking about a couple of months ago. So yeah, the thing about them, this group is that it is about the next generation, and the next generation is about automotive. It's just about automation. That's what it's about. It's about getting rid of the working man, relying on the least amount of real people as possible. Okay, we've agreed to that with Ford as a function of the purchase, Stiver said. Apple Autos likes potential. On August 7th, AutoNation sold its Minneapolis St. Paul area store, AutoNation Ford White Bear Lake, to Apple Autos. Apple Autos of Apple Valley, Minnesota, renamed the store Apple Ford White Bear Lake. Buy-sell advisory firm Hague Partners of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, represented AutoNation in the transaction. Apple Autos President Chris Gulbranson said the AutoNation store gives the group presence in the north side of the Twin Cities, complementing 2 other Ford stores his group owns on the south side of the area. It's not in our territory, and it's got a really lot of potential to grow, Gulbranson said. This gives us a lot of synergy in the market, and we can cover a lot more area. Including this purchase, Apple Autos has 3 Ford dealerships, 1 Lincoln store, 1 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and a Chevrolet dealership, all in Minnesota. AutoNation's Ford White Bear Lake was its only dealership in Minnesota, said Gulbranson, who added his group is looking to grow in the Twin Cities market. Gulbranson said Ford White Bear Lake has been a high-volume store like Apple Autos, Apple Ford, Apple Valley store. AutoNation of Fort Lauderdale, Florida ranks number 2 on Automotive News list of the top 150 dealership groups based in the U.S., retailing 244,546 new vehicles in 2023. Rival Asbury Automotive Group also sold a Chevrolet dealership in Union City in August. As of June 30th, Asbury had $206.6 million worth of assets held for sale according to a regulatory filing. The group said the portfolio included 8 franchise dealerships along with unused real estate. All right. So, and that's what we're talking about is, and I, I'm a part of this as well. I've been doing some shopping for closed down dealerships myself, trying to invest in some things. But what we're talking about is that the trickle-down effect is really in motion for dealerships, for automakers. All of these people are suffering. All this is a referendum on the way that the automotive industry is completely and utterly suffering. This is AutoNation Group is one of the major automotive groups in the world. And to have to sell off assets, meaning that these stores is probably not keeping up with the financial toll that is their overhead. They weren't making sales. They were having major problems. So, and on top of that, what's moving in as AutoNation moves out is groups that are hell-bound on creating dealerships that are based on a automation situation where there's going to be a lot less people working and a lot less people with jobs. That's what we're talking about here. People with jobs. We're talking about a lot of people that's going to lose their jobs when automation, the automation of the Stivers Group gets into these new dealerships and changes everything. So let's keep going. We're sticking with the automation theme, as it were. So next up, we head out here to California and check out California moves ahead with self-driving trucks despite labor opposition. State DMV moves forward with self-driving truck regulations after California legislature advances anti-AV trucking bill to Governor Newsom's desk. And this is from September 4th, Pete Bigelow, Automotive News. Self-driving trucks are one step closer to rolling along California roads, much to the consternation of labor unions that oppose them. California's Department of Motor Vehicles issued draft regulations August 30th that would permit and govern the operation of heavy-duty autonomous trucks on public roads. Industry executives have awaited the proposed regulations for a decade, and their arrival marks an important step toward bringing this life-saving technology to market in California. Life-saving, that's a reach. Said Kodiak Robotics CEO and co-founder Don Burnett. Allowing autonomous trucks ensures the state's freight economy can remain competitive. I'm going to have to disagree with that, he said. State officials released the proposed rules one day after the California State Assembly passed bipartisan Teamsters-backed legislation that would require a human operator behind the wheel of self-driving trucks. Okay. That legislation, Assembly Bill 2286, now sits on Governor Gavin Newsom's desk. He vetoed similar legislation last year despite the Teamsters' support for the bill. Experts believe he will again either veto this year's bill or leave it unsigned. A spokesperson from the governor's office did not return a request for comment. When he vetoed last year's anti-autonomous truck bill, Newsom cited the promulgation of regulations as one reason why he felt the legislation was unnecessary. They'd kill him. He further wrote in a September 22nd, 2023 letter to state legislators that he was committed to finding the right approach to safely test and deploy this evolving technology in California while also addressing and mitigating any potential impacts to jobs. Newsom's support, combined with the pending regulations, opens a path for self-driving technology companies to soon connect goods flowing into California's ports with the rest of the country. Open road. Proposed DMV rules mark a shift. Currently, California's regulations prohibit the testing or deployment of AVs weighing more than 10,000 pounds. That has made for an awkward dynamic in which California-based companies like Kodiak Robotics, Aurora Innovation, and Gatik have developed self-driving technology in the state, but tested and planned commercial operations elsewhere. There's an opportunity for California to regain its national edge on this, said Mafado Easy, Senior Director of State and Local Government Relations at Aurora. What's exciting to me about California is there's a very robust conversation about the future of autonomous vehicles in the state. The DMV is seeking input on the proposed regulations through October 14th from manufacturers, AV experts, first responders, consumers, and labor unions. The latter has already made its position known. The regulations are an insult to California workers who already fear losing their jobs to AutoNation. Teamsters General President Sean M. O'Brien wrote, such concerns come as robo-taxis have flourished on the state's roads over the past year and also encountered problems. Self-driving tech company Waymo has developed more than 300 AVs in and around San Francisco and already won permission from the state's Public Utilities Commission to expand service throughout the Bay Area and across Metro Los Angeles. But another robotaxi competitor, General Motors' backed Cruise, has sparked concerns. It had its driverless permits revoked by the Department of Motor Vehicles last October following a crash in San Francisco that left a pedestrian with multiple traumatic injuries, according to first responders. That crash has sharpened opposition to driverless trucks. Autonomous vehicles have brought chaos to California roads, yet Governor Newsom is welcoming 80,000-pound driverless trucks with open arms, O'Brien said. These dangerous actions threaten good jobs and public safety. But elsewhere, autonomous trucks have been embraced. Texas has become a hotbed of activity with Aurora, Kodiak Robotics, and Gatik all expected to begin driverless commercial service there by the end of this year. Interstate 10 is expected to be another focus for autonomous tech operators, both within Texas and beyond. It traverses the lower third of the country, running from Los Angeles to Jackson, Florida. All right. All right. So I have to pull back a little bit because I personally was already thinking that they already had the allowability to have AVs on the California road. So I got to give kudos to Gavin Newsom for not allowing that, and I got to give kudos to California for putting a stop to this to some degree to try to save jobs. And because also, y'all remember iRobot? I remember iRobot. You know how them them autonomous semi trucks did Will Smith, man? I was scared in the mud. So that kind of scares me too. And then they talking about how this robo taxi done put traumatic injury on a person. The fear is still there, guys. But let's face it, it's Newsom, so we can expect that this thing will probably get signed eventually, and eventually we're going to have these autonomous vehicles on our roads. And they already said that Texas already has these autonomous vehicles, so I would like to find out, how it's been going. How many accidents has been, how many people have died, how many, how much safer is the roads, how many people have lost their jobs. Remember, because there was a massive run, I want to say a little bit after COVID, of truck drivers, female truck drivers, truck driving gurus, teaching how to become a truck driver right away, everybody becoming millionaires being truck drivers. Them people are about to be super duper hurt. They just gonna take all y'all jobs away. And that's the fear. I mean, I myself am old, so I don't really worry about it as much as I should. But the loss of these jobs to these autonomous machines, autonomous vehicles, autonomous machines, period, autonomous robot arms, and then inflation is just kicking up and up and up, and we've seen weekly how many people have been losing their jobs. I don't get it. I don't understand how this administration keeps saying that we have all these jobs, and all week after week after week, I bring to you a story where people have lost jobs. This factory, that factory, automation losses. I'm sorely confused at where the new jobs are going to come from. Is everybody going to be in cybersecurity? Is everybody going to be a computer programmer? Most of these people who are truck drivers, say it. Most of the people are truck drivers because they don't want to have to work with their brain like that. And what we're starting to see is the only people who are going to be able to survive in the world we live in is people who can work with their brain like that, who can traverse the content creation world, who can traverse the cybersecurity, software engineering world. That's not all people. And what we have to understand is that the people, the small town people, those factory people that probably spend a majority of their lives working in these factories, those are the people that's losing out to this automation. Those are the people that's losing out to this automation. Those are the jobs that's disappearing. Let's go one more article. We're going to check out one more quick article. I might do one more after this, but we're going to really dive into a guy that's really just straight saying it to your face. I'm going all out for the automation. Let's get this done. So, why Lear is going all in on automation. The long-term need for factory jobs is increasing, but there are fewer people to fill them. For Lear automation is the answer. Come on, bro. That's a lie. The long-term need for factory jobs is increasing. There is a need for factory jobs. That's for sure. But September 4th, Kurt Nagel, Automotive News. I love it. All right. Lear Corporation CEO Ray Scott sees trouble on the horizon for manufacturers. The long-term need for factory jobs is increasing, but there are fewer people to fill them. That is not. Oh my God, bro. We weekly talk about thousands of jobs from GM being lost, 800 jobs from this factory, 700 jobs from that factory, and now you're telling me that. Let me keep going. At the same time, labor is getting more expensive, that's true, as pressure builds on automotive suppliers to reduce costs and improve efficiencies. Can't deny any of that. For Lear, among the world's largest auto suppliers with $23.5 billion in annual revenue, automation is the answer. In a world where product innovation is so important, that's kind of been the emphasis for a long time. Manufacturing innovation is going to be crucially important, if not more important, Scott told Crane's Detroit Business and Automotive News affiliate in an interview last week. I don't think you chase the labor arbitrage as much as you chase technology. The company has done so aggressively over the past couple of years in a bid to own each area of the manufacturing process. As other auto suppliers curb spending in response to market uncertainty and pressure on margins, Lear kept with its acquisition spree. The suburban Detroit-based seating supplier announced in April it would buy WIP Industrial Automation, beefing up its artificial intelligence and automation capabilities and building on its integration of ASI Automation, the Gore Technology SRL, and InTouch Automation. Dang. Through the acquisitions, Lear can build and control automation in its plants, from conveyors and digital software programming to cameras and visual systems. The company is flexing its manufacturing muscle at a new seating plant in Detroit. It's a new plant in Detroit. Inside the 684,000 square foot factory, the supplier built its own capital to make seats for the Jeep Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, a contract it took over from Forvia last year. Typically, an external integrator would set up the equipment, and a just-in-time program would take a year and a half to 2 years to launch. Lear did it in 8 months, and with better ergonomics throughout and cost to capital than the program had previously, Scott said. The highly automated lines allow for faster production with fewer workers. We're moving extremely fast, and we're modeling this across all our facilities, Scott said. We are now creating capital that is very unique to our needs, as opposed to having, in some cases, to buy and acquire capital that's more generic and then working backwards to have it fit our specific needs. Factory flexibility is key for survival in the auto industry, which is undergoing a frenetic transformation to electric, software-defined vehicles. The Detroit 3 automakers and other traditional OEMs are going up against Tesla and startups, including Chinese domestics, which are innovating rapidly. They need suppliers that can keep pace. We're discovering with the domestic Chinese and others that time to production is very important, and turning over and using very selective capital is important, Scott said. Other suppliers from Tier 1 and below are also investing heavily in robotics and manufacturing technology. Automation has become more important than ever, according to industry experts and executives. In addition to a persistent worker shortage, what worker shortage? Historic pay increases in the UAW Detroit 3 contracts are trickling through the supply chain, saddling every manufacturer with higher labor costs. That's what he was talking about, how UAW contract with the Big Three is destroying everybody. It's destroying everybody. It was overreach. Ugh. We have to stay focused on today. I get it, on quarterly results and yearly results, but that's not changing how we're looking at investment around innovation with our manufacturing, the technology advancement, Scott said. I think that is about survival. We have to invest now. We've stayed steadfast on that. All right. So, man, okay. So, what we're talking about is Lear is pretty much telling you to your face that they're going to go full automation, as much automation as they can. And as much as I want to applaud the fact that they are building a new factory in Detroit, it won't be a factory that's going to employ a lot of people because it's going to be about automation. It's going to have machines in there. It's going to have a couple of folk in there just to run the machines, and that's pretty much it. And this is not good for the average American. This is not good for Detroit. Detroit has lost thousands and thousands of factory jobs over the last couple of months, over the last couple of months. GM, Stellantis, Wisconsin. I'm telling you, factory jobs are falling to the wayside so badly right now. Telling you, I was just in Indiana. I know I got family in Indiana that used to have to go over to Flint to work. My brother, I think, his factory is in Flint, I think. It's probably in Mishawaka, but it's out there somewhere. And his plant makes stuff for automotives too. It's bad. I mean, we'll have to really start to dive into a broad realization that the machine is taking over the working man's job, and the man's gonna have to find something else to do. Straight up, this is what we're talking about. This automation thing is crazy. It's crazy. But we've known about it forever. We can't say it's new. We've watched as factory after factory put in arms to help, with the line. Lots of these factories use the automation has already invaded these factories to a major extent. And year after year, newer innovation, new machines, less workers. That's what we're talking about. It's a sad state. It's just another truth that the world has come to accept and realize that, SKYNET is real. SKYNET is real. SKYNET is there. We're going to sit here and we're going to let it take over because it's going to make our lives easier. We're going to sit here and let it take over because we're lazy and we really don't want to do the work. But the smart of us are just going to adapt and find jobs that SKYNET can't do, which are few and far between, but that's all we can do. Find those jobs that SKYNET can't do and take them over and hope for the best. All right, so real quick, I just want to touch on one big thing that I personally talk about a lot, but it is a little political, so I don't know if it'll be on the thumbnail or not or whatever. But so I talk a lot about BYD. I talk a lot about Chinese manufacturers, the EV crave, and how they're trying to get their major hooks into the American market share of the automotive industry. And this came out, yesterday? Check this out. BYD pauses Mexico factory plans until after the U.S. election, report says. The postponement is largely because BYD would prefer to wait and see the outcome of the race between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. And this is from yesterday, September 3rd, and it's from Bloomberg. China's top electric vehicle maker BYD company won't announce a major planned investment in Mexico until at least after the U.S. election, according to people familiar with the matter, as shifting American policy forces global businesses into wait-and-see mode. BYD was scouting 3 locations for a car production facility in Mexico, but has stopped actively looking for now. Several people said making not to be identified, discussing information that's private. The postponement is largely because BYD would prefer to wait and see the outcome of the race between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris in early November, the people said. They added that BYD's paused factory plans may still be revived or could change, and no final decision has been made. Representatives for BYD didn't respond to a request for comment. Now, I just wanted to throw that in there. I read this. I didn't want to know if I was going to touch on it today. It's not a big story, but what it is a story on the Chinese understanding the importance of the presidency, the Chinese understanding that one way or another, who the president of the United States is could affect how they move. I already told you guys that they were putting the plant in Mexico solely for the reason of integrating into the U.S., bringing their vehicles over to the U.S. And my thought is, I would prefer. What I would prefer is that BYD not do that plant in Mexico and they do it here. Now, mind you, if they did it here, it would be more expensive. But if they did it here and we worked out a deal where we talked about tariffs, changed that tariff situation, and there's a lot of things that can be done to allow for BYD to, and I don't care if they build a plant over in Mexico, but my whole thing, guys, is that we're losing jobs. And if they can build a plant over in Mexico, they can build one here. Now, dollars and donuts, their overhead will be horribly more here in the United States than it would be over in Mexico. But there's ways to get around that. We know there are tariffs, incentives, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. But my thing is, we need jobs. We need jobs. Automation is taking jobs away. And let's face it, BYD is one of those companies that's probably not going to have, it is going to have a lot of automation in its factories, but it's going to have jobs. And that's what we need. We're losing too many jobs, and this is just another opportunity. And of course, by reading this article, BYD is waiting, Harris or Trump, to figure out their next move. So we understand how important the presidency is, and I hope that whoever becomes president understands that the jobs that they say that we're getting are not here, and we really, really, really need to start making more jobs for the American people. All right, guys, I'm your boy Chris C. Pupsarot. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good day. Please like and subscribe to the show, and I'm out. Peace.